Hello. So this is going to be a pick a card reading. Now I just want to say I know I've been absent for a long time, but there are two reasons. The first is I did move. I relocated to a different country, and I could only bring one of my decks because they didn't fit my bag. So I brought the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, and that's all we'll be working on for now as I start to rebuild my collection. The second reason is I was studying, so I was learning more and more about tarot, because the more and more I practiced it in videos and in private readings as well, I realized that there was still so much more to learn, so much more details I could give if I had more of the knowledge, if I could just really read the cards well. So my intention is to give you a more complete and detailed reading than before. So without further ado, let's get started. This is going to be what is coming towards you. So first of all, I asked, who are you? So that you can be sure you chose your correct pile. So this is pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. So choose the pile you're most drawn to. I also added some colors just in case you needed extra help. So we have a yellow gold. It's like an orange color. Red or green. So you choose whatever comes to your mind first, the number, the color, or the card, whichever you prefer. Click the number, the timestamp for the number of your pile in the description, and you will be directed to your reading. Hello, pile 1. If you chose this pile, this is your reading. Let's make sure you chose the right pile. So you chose the Seeker of Challenges, which in the traditional tarot is the Knight of Swords. So I think even the name of this card speaks for itself. The people who chose this pile are people who can't be still for very long. So mentally, you're always questioning, you're always planning, you're always you question everything. You might be some of you might be a little bit defiant, but not because you want to be, but because you seek truth, you seek clarity. So the people who chose this pile seem to use a lot of their intellect. So it might be that you don't let emotions govern you completely. You do use your mind a lot over your emotions a lot of times. The number 11 is important here. So you could be master number 11, or this number could be important to you in some way. We also have swords, as we mentioned, so you could be Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, and even if you are not, you do possess these qualities. So either you could have it in your you might have it in your moon, your rising sign, or something like that. But either way, the qualities, even if you are not those signs, you possess the qualities of, fast thinking, restless energy, curiosity, speech. You love to learn. You have strong opinions. Maybe you like to read as well, or you like to solve puzzles. You like to use your mind a lot. History, science, language, or technology might be important for you as well. Another thing is this card represents the season of spring, so that might be something important, right? It could be, for some of you, it's a season that you like. It's where you started a project. Spring does represent new beginnings. So even if you didn't do it at that time, maybe right now you are thinking of, or you are starting a new project, new studies, new career, or something like that. You're someone who thinks quickly. You notice small details that others sometimes miss. You prefer to be honest. You might be overly direct. You might be overly honest for some people, but it's because you do not like misunderstandings. You do not like things not to make sense, and you do not like manipulation. You seem to be someone who questions authority instead of just accepting things. So this is who you are, pile number 1. You might be interested in law, teaching, research, investigation, engineer, journalism, writing, reading. You're someone who needs constant mental stimulation. So someone who is very intelligent and uses their mind a lot. You also might have a gift of intuition. Some of you might be able to feel things like before you know what's actually happening. Your intuition already told you. Now on the downside, this does seem to create some sort of overthinking for some of you, right? So this might be one of the problems. You might be someone who reacts or responds a little too quickly, because you might be someone who makes judgments quickly because you know you've been through so much, or you know so much that you tend to just jump right to the conclusion. So that can lead to problems sometimes, pile 1. But if this sounds like you, if at least half or more sounds like you, then you've chosen the correct pile, and we can start with your reading. Okay, pile 1. So we have a 7 of spells in reverse, the 7 of challenges, and the wise woman. So the first thing I see here is, it seems that what's coming towards you, or maybe you're already going through this, some of you, is a lesson. That's what it seems. It's a lesson for you, pile 1, especially if you are the type, is what we said, restless energy. You always want to find solutions. You always want to fix things quickly. It seems here that whatever you're going through, or whatever you will go through in the near future, will change you for the better. You will learn that you don't need to fight everything. You don't need to find a solution for everything. You are guided. You are guided by something bigger. You know, you don't always have to know everything. You don't always have to find the solution. You don't always have to find the answers. You release unnecessary conflict, because not everything deserves your energy, pile 1. Not everything deserves confrontation, and you are learning that, or you will learn that very soon. So you develop wiser strategies to solve these conflicts. You realize that sometimes it's better not to do anything than to take action, because there is a balance, of course. We don't always have to take action to solve a conflict, or to solve a problem that we are having in life. And you are learning that, or you will learn that very soon, pile 1. Sometimes silence, sometimes stillness is a stronger force than taking action. And it seems that it's something that you are going through, or something that you will go through very soon. And this is a personal choice. Perhaps a lot of you are tired. You are tired of always having to battle every obstacle on your own, and tired of always having to take charge, right? Because nobody else does anything. You're so passive. They don't do anything. I have to do it all. And this is not true, pile 1. You do not have to do it all. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. You know, like I said, sometimes it doesn't mean you're not doing the correct thing. You know, sometimes doing nothing is a strategy. You know, some people do nothing on purpose so that something else around them can move. So even being still is an important action or non-action to take, of course. And this will make you wiser and much, much more happy and fulfilled, pile 1. Doing this can even get you, the things that make you feel happy, that help you, feel at home, that help you find those things or get those things that you feel you need in order to feel trust, emotional peace. So that is something that is very much within your reach, pile 1. You just need to change strategies, and this sort of peace, fulfillment, happiness is within your reach. Hello, pile 2. If you chose this color or this pile, this is your reading. So 2 cards wanted to come out for you. Who are you, pile 2? We have the Child of Visions and the Keeper of Challenges, which at first glance seem contradictory almost. But the people who chose this pile, I think, are very interesting people. It seems like you are the kind of person who, on the outside, since you are you might be very creative, very curious, You might ask a lot of questions. To the outside person, you might seem even a little naive. You might seem gentle, naive, innocent, but underneath it, your mind is very sharp. You're very wise. Pile number 2. It seems like you have a lot of knowledge, right? You might have gone through experiences that made you grow up too fast, that made you, have to understand things that a person your age wouldn't have had to understand so soon. So this is who you are, pile number 2. If you are not these signs, you do possess the qualities. You could be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. But even if you are none of those signs, it is the qualities, right? You are someone who cares about others, who is very who's very compassionate, who notices other people's emotions. You might be someone who notices how someone feels before they say it. You might, be able to intuitively know how others feel. You might be very creative, right? You might enjoy just having fun, like you might find joy in the little things in life. But at the same time, you're someone who thinks carefully before you make important decisions. You seek honesty. You don't like unnecessary drama. You're someone who you can't make a fool of, if you know what I mean, even if on the outside it might seem different to others. So you have a strong intuition, pile number 2. You've gained wisdom through experience. Life has given you experiences, right? So this is who you are, pile 2. You could be a good listener, a good counselor, someone who other people turn to for advice. Okay, pile 2. So this is what is coming towards you. So we have the Wheel of Spells, the 5 of Boons, the 8 of Boons, and at the bottom of the deck we have the Childhood Challenges. So the people who chose this pile, most of you are embarking or will embark on a new journey. You might be starting a new career, you might be starting a new project, you might be starting a new creative passion. You might be following your dreams, right? You might be leaving one situation, like maybe a job, to start doing something that you really enjoy, or to start pursuing your dreams finally. So what the tarot here wants to tell you, pile 2, is that no, it won't be easy maybe, but it is the path that will lead you to master the skills. So what the tarot really wants to tell you is not to be discouraged, because when you start this path, whether you've already started or you will start it soon, because we do need to remember that while we can control part of our lives, there are parts that are controlled by something bigger. So sometimes these sort of projects or situations, even though they're the projects of our dreams, they sometimes start because we want them to, and sometimes we are forced to. So for example, we lose our job, something like that happens, or we lose the person who gave us stability. We go through a divorce, we go through a separation, we go through changing career, and even though at the time it might seem scary, because that's the thing, a lot of people take it as something negative just because it's something unknown, something scary for you. But the truth is, sometimes those situations happen so that we change the course of our lives again, whether we want to or not. Sometimes we are pushed in one direction, and what happens in the end is the direct result of how we react to it. So even if at first you feel scared, you feel like maybe you don't have enough resources, or you don't have enough support, maybe the people around you don't agree with what you're doing, you feel unsupported, you feel alone, whether that's unsupported financially or emotionally. But if you can see in this card, what we see back here, it's important for you to question yourself, right? To question what support have you overlooked. What I mean is, you could find support somewhere else. Maybe you won't get it with the people that you know or that have known you their whole lives, because they are afraid of you changing. They don't want you to be different. They don't want things to change. So you can find support in other places. Don't be discouraged. Don't think that just because these people don't agree with me, or these things aren't going right, or I don't know where to start, that it's impossible. That is simply not the case. So yeah, just really keep your eyes open for opportunities and for support. This is a period of learning, whether you are in it or you are going to be in it. A period of tests, a period of learning. It is temporary. Everything is temporary. The good and the bad are both temporary. So you don't need to worry about any situation that you are going through or that you might go through and that you are afraid of it. There's no need to be afraid. Everything is temporary. But you are going to build skills. With your persistence, you will be improving. So you will become a master at whatever it is that you embark on. So just don't lose faith, pile 2. It seems that you are learning a new skill and you will master it, or you will improve in your career, your hobby. Maybe you even finish education. Some of you might be about education, finishing school or career, or even in your own job. Maybe you stay in your job, but you want to acquire a skill that will help you get ahead in your career or in your present job, right? So it's all about being willing to grow, being willing to learn, right? If we are just stubborn and stuck in our ways, then we don't progress. Nothing ever changes. But this doesn't seem to be a problem for you, pile 2. You seem to be naturally curious. You seem to be someone who naturally looks for answers, who naturally wants to learn. So this doesn't seem like it will be something difficult for you. So whatever it is that you're going to start, or they're going to just whatever it is that you're starting new, whether it's a career, your own business, a relationship, even whatever it is you're starting new, you start with enthusiasm, right? Because this is who you are, someone who looks forward to life, even if the big path becomes difficult and you question if you have the resources to continue instead of giving up. It's the opportunity for you to learn new skills, to become even more capable through practice, to have greater strength. And at the end of the day, you will be wiser. You will be able to do more things and be more confident because of this. Hello, pile 3. If you chose this color or you chose this pile, this is your reading. And let's see, who are you? First of all, just make sure you've chosen the right pile. So we have the Weaver of Boons. So you seem to be someone who has the ability to make others feel safe. You could be very nurturing. Some of you might, even if, well, let me finish my thought. Some of you might be a mother, and even if you are not a mother, you are someone who is very nurturing. So you might have kids, or you might have animals, you might have pets, you might have plants that you take care of, but there is something that you take care of, or that you like to take care of. And even like you can see in this picture, you might be someone with a green thumb. That means that you are someone who has plants, and that you have the ability to make them grow. And this is in general with anything, just like that ability that you have with plants, because with plants you need to be gentle, you need to be patient, you need to prepare the area to help them grow. So this is you, pile 3. Some of you have this ability with everything else. Even if you haven't realized it yet, you do have the ability to make things grow. Like somebody gives you something, whether it's a plant or money or whatever, and you multiply it, you make it grow. You are someone who multiplies things. You resemble abundance, right? Abundance follows you wherever you go, whether you see it or not yet. But you do seem to bring things into the physical realm. Do you know what I mean? So you're also good at bringing ideas or emotions into the physical realm. So a lot of you could be earth signs. You could be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. And even if you are not these signs, you do have the quality. So you could be somewhere in your chart. You're someone who's steady, loyal. You appreciate beauty and comfort. Comfort might be important to you. Even luxury. Those things are important to you, and there's nothing wrong with that. you are this person, right, who values beauty and comfort, who values the material realm. Finances, home, and the health are what govern this card. You could be someone practical, someone very bold when they speak. You could be attentive to detail, responsible, perseverant, all of these qualities. So you are someone who knows how to use what you have wisely. Instead of we all want more and more, and there is nothing wrong with that, but you are someone who doesn't always just think, what can I have next, what more can I get? You think, what can I do with what I already have? And this is the quality in you that makes these things grow or multiply. This is why you're someone so dependable, someone who you can be trusted with what you have, because you take care of it. And because you can take care of it, it is multiplied for you. Pile number 3. So that's really, really beautiful. You seem to encourage growth in everything around you, whether that's plants, animals, or people. You are someone resourceful. You might be someone who's good at budgeting, cooking, gardening, organizing. You make simple things into beautiful things. Pile number 3. So on the downside, you also might be someone who puts others' needs before yours, or maybe you did in the past. So that's the downside. You might be someone who feels responsible for others' well-being all the time. You might be someone who is overworked because of this. Maybe you have difficult receiving help. You are a little too independent, a little too productive, right? So nurturing yourself is just as important, or even more so, than nurturing others. You tend to be someone loyal, as I said before. You value consistency, emotional safety. It might be difficult for you to get into a relationship or to trust in a relationship, So yeah, you're someone very caring for your family, for your garden, for your pets, for the world. Maybe of the world, right? Maybe you like to recycle, to protect the earth. Things like that. Okay, so pile 3 for what's coming towards you. This is very interesting. So we have the Seeker of Spells, the Fire of Challenges, and the Child of Challenges, and bottom of deck is 6 of Visions. So a lot of you are starting something new. You are having some sort of creative or sudden burst of energy, or you will have it. If you have not had it yet, you will soon. Others of you, this could mean you are going to travel. Some of you are traveling very soon. And if you're not traveling physically, I think a lot of you are traveling physically, but for those of you who are not, you're just traveling towards a new situation. Now, this could be about a relationship. Some of you might have a sort of moment of bold, maybe you haven't been in a relationship in a long time, right? So you might have a sudden urge or an impulse, and then that will lead you to a new relationship. Now, this is about that. With the cards we have here, it seems that you might come across a sort of conflict in this. Now, before you get nervous, this seems to be not a difficult conflict. The first thing I can see here is that for some of you, the conflict is your own pride. Some of you might be very prideful still, and so you might be having difficulty receiving attention or love from someone. So pride seems to be an obstacle, which is something that we need to reflect on our own. The next thing that could be an issue, if it's not pride, it could be a misunderstanding or a different viewpoint. But the tarot wants to tell you that it's important to have honest conversations that bring clarity instead of just shutting down immediately. So because this connection that is coming towards you, or that you will go into, it will encourage healing, reconnecting with a more authentic version of yourself. Now, whether this relationship lasts or does not last, the important part is it will help you reconnect with who you truly are. So whether that means that you have to stand up for yourself, and that helps you reconnect with the more authentic you, right? You stop trying to please everyone, and instead fight for your own needs, your own desires. So that could be one thing. Or for others of you, it could just mean that you open up more, right? You understand that we are all human, and you understand the other person's point of view. Now, if this is not about love, if this is about career or your job, and you are embarking on a new opportunity, a new job, a new project, maybe something very ambitious, or it could be in your same work or somewhere else. Here, the conflict would be a competition, or having to adapt to other people, having different opinions than your coworkers. But the important thing here is that you gather new skills and that you gather important information. What does that mean? It means to focus mostly on you and your job and not focus on what other people around me are doing. Because you will get the results that you want. You will find things that align more with you, your values or long-term aspirations, if you just keep at it, right? So we're going to go through a period of change, pile 3. It seems you're changing, whether it's in career, love, or even traveling. Something is changing, something is moving in this pile. Something that will help us learn, that will encourage learning, that will encourage being authentic to ourselves, maybe reconnecting to our true feelings or desires, to our true personality. Nurturing the child within will also be important for you, pile 3.